Hi everyone, it's Sarah here doing a short this time, and today I'm joined by Trevor Gibbons, who is a member of the Rugby League Uncovered group, and he's going to be chatting to us about what they're doing as a group and how we can all get involved. So welcome along, Trevor.
Hiya, evening.
Are you all right?
I'm fine, and especially good because the season's underway.
It's exciting times, isn't it?
It's always exciting at this time of the season. Let's see how we do towards the end of the World Cup.
Yeah. So, for the benefit of our listeners, do you want to just tell us all a bit about you, who you are, where you're from, what wise rugby league decisions you've made in life?
Well, I'm just an ordinary rugby league fan who's been passionately interested in the game pretty much all my life. My rugby league decision was made for me because I was born in West Hull, so there was no other decision other than black and white. So I'm a Hull FC fan, and as are the rest of my family and right back to my granddad, etc. So I've been watching rugby league now, it seems ridiculous to say, but for 7 decades.
Wow.
I first started to go in the late 60s, so I've seen quite a bit of rugby league over those years.
Yeah, it'll be interesting actually. My dad did his rugby league story on the podcast a few weeks ago, and that went back to mid to late 60s.
My first big rugby league game as a young lad was the Yorkshire Cup final of 1969 that Hull won, although I'd been going to the Boulevard before then. So that's where it all started. But I've always felt a desire to see rugby league promoted fairly, not more than it deserves, but to get some of the coverage and the respect that it does deserve.
Yeah, I think that leads quite nicely on to a bit more about the Rugby League Uncovered group. Do you want to just give us a bit of information about where it's came from, this concept?
Well, it's just people like me who are genuine rugby league fans and who've got a little bit of a bee in the bonnet about some of the coverage, mainly some of the coverage we don't get. It's not so much worrying about some of the coverage we've got, although sometimes you can worry about that. It's just saying I think rugby league sometimes gets a bit of a raw deal from history, from sometimes outright prejudice. So I noticed maybe a couple of months ago now, there was a guy, Stuart from Widnes, who put something on Twitter. I got in touch with him. Now we've got more than 50 fans, and the idea is that we lobby for better media coverage, but we do it very nicely. We are an organisation who only want people to write pleasant and positive letters and maybe use a bit of humour. It's not for complaining about rival clubs or anything. We forget all our club allegiance. It's about putting rugby league out there a bit more. And really, the founding principle of it is because we've got the Rugby League World Cup coming up at the end of this year, and we're just trying politely to increase more coverage for that. I think the real catalyst for people taking the first few what we call actions or writing or complaining to people was when one of the national broadcasts, I think it was the Sunday Times, did the top 20 sporting events of this year and didn't include the Rugby League World Cup. And it was that and subsequent letters to them where Stuart had the idea to see if there are other fans out there that felt just like he did that we could get a bit of better coverage.
Yeah, no, I think it's interesting, isn't it, how we can have these sort of opinions and these feelings, but it's only when you sort of connect with other like-minded people that you think, actually, I'm not just being paranoid, and let's try and see what we can do with it.
And I think sometimes, if we are being fair, some rugby league fans, because we are rugby league fans, expect that we should be on the front of every newspaper and lead every television bulletin, and that isn't where we should be. No sport's going to be like that. But there are some real certain things that we like to make a sort of positive complaint about. So one of them myself was I saw a tweet from the Royal Bank of Scotland, and they were congratulating themselves because they sponsored what they called, quotes, Scottish rugby. So I have been in touch with the Royal Bank of Scotland and their advertising department to say, well, great, if you're sponsoring Scottish rugby, I really hope you're giving some money to Rugby League and their community development work in the year of the World Cup, with the wheelchair cup having a Scottish team in, etc. So it's just taking every chance we can to plug that sort of thing. Another thing I've done personally is, having seen that the Radio Times put on a 6-page spread for the Rugby Union Six Nations competition, I just sent them a letter saying, marvellous idea, but I'm really looking forward to you doing just the same for the Rugby League World Cup. And so it's sometimes just seeing something in your daily life on Twitter, or when you're reading something or you see something on television. We've been firing off emails and letters right, left and centre. I mean, one of the strangest things we've been doing is we've been writing to ambassadors of countries that are coming to the World Cup. So a few of us have been writing to the Greek ambassador down in London, saying that they hope they'll be welcoming their team and they'll help them have a great World Cup when they have to, after all, play England when it gets to, is it November, I think?
Yeah, I think so.
It's finding things like that, Sarah, that we're just trying to keep on top of people.
Yeah. It's thinking outside the box, isn't it, I think, as well?
It is. It is thinking some of the strange ideas. So that's why we've written to some strange embassies. I've written to the Norwegian one as well, because obviously they will have a wheelchair team over here, asking them to support Rugby League and do something with the World Cup. But it's not just outside the sport. Some of our members have also lobbied our own Super League clubs. There are some Super League clubs who currently haven't done a lot of tweets or promotion around the World Cup. So people who are season ticket holders at various clubs have been on to them, asking them if they might do that as well. In some ways, it is a very small little start to something that could be really big, but we're picking up members every day, and it's very free as to what you particularly want to grumble about or write a letter about. But it gives us a way, if you get very annoyed like I did about something that the Royal Bank of Scotland said, or the Radio Times, or the Sunday Times, whatever, it gives you a chance to tell a network of other fans, and if they're bothered about it as well, the idea is not to get one letter or email, but to at least get a group or some, or up to 100, so that they might begin to take some sort of notice.
Yeah, a lone voice on the road isn't going to do a lot, but if that's a group of voices, it's more likely to have an impact, isn't it?
It is, and we have been trying to keep the tone light, and we've also sent emails out to people that we think have done good things, because we feel it's important to reward good work by Sky or the BBC or indeed your own club. So we've been trying to do that as well. And I mean, there would be a warm welcome for anybody listening to this. You're already madly involved in rugby league. You already like thinking, listening to your podcasts. All you need to do is have a look on Twitter at Uncovered Rugby, or you can email at uncoveredrugby@gmail.com and join in the fun. You know, it is not boring and it's not prescriptive. You don't have to do lots of different things you don't want to do. We want people who have bright ideas come up to us and say, did you know this is happening? Why don't we write a few letters? And we know that some people will think what we're doing is absolutely balmy, bound to fail. But the point is, we don't care because we're doing something.
Yeah, and it's easy to complain when you're not prepared to do something, isn't it? But actually put your money where your mouth is and be prepared to spend 10 minutes firing off a couple of emails.
Well, in this day and age, emailing people, contacting them over Twitter, finding out details, and indeed writing proper good old-fashioned letters are a lot easier than it used to be. So, you know, if you've got something or some treatment of rugby league that's bothered you, why not do something about it? And that's what we're about.
Yeah, and, you know, I mean, I came along to the Zoom call earlier this week, and it was nice just sort of chatting about a few different ideas. Listeners to the pod know Joshua well. He popped in and had a bit to say for himself, and you know his opinion was well received by everyone. So yeah, I would say it's something that I really feel that the Super League pod family would be closely aligned to, in that we are very much, you know, we are for the fans, by the fans, but we are also always looking to promote the game, and whether that's the men's competitions, the women's competitions, the wheelchair competitions, you know, in the community, all of these things are really big and close to the hearts of all of our listeners, I'd say. So yeah, I would really encourage people to sort of get in touch with the group, you know, at whatever level you want involvement. And what we'll do is we'll pop all the contact details either in a blog post or certainly alongside the information from this show, and then people can get in touch.
And you know, one last thought, that we are great at rugby league at sometimes being a bit downcast. Clearly the game has some problems. We're not flush with money. Coronavirus has caused problems. But at the same time, in the last few weeks, I've seen teams representing Ecuador, Peru. I've watched French on a Facebook stream. I've watched the Elite One division. We've got new teams popping up all over. We've got the prospect of the Rugby League World Cup coming up.
Yeah.
Things are actually very good in some respects, and we should welcome that.
Yeah, and I think as well, you know, the fact that we're running the Men's World Cup, the Women's World Cup and the Wheelchair World Cup alongside each other, I think that's revolutionary, isn't it, really?
It is, and something that, of course, Rugby League can be really proud of.
Yeah,
and
let's celebrate that, and let's get other people knowing it.
And also, when we can, when tickets go back on sale, let's go out and buy some more tickets for the World Cup.
Yeah.
And if you know any friendly celebrities, newspaper editors or anything like that, why not fire a letter off to them telling them how good the World Cup is going to be and that they don't want to miss out.
Definitely, yeah. And yeah, that's great. Thank you. As I say, we'll include all the content